Today in our elopement series, we're going to be talking about escape. And my daughter, when she wanted to escape a task, she would just melt down and fall to the floor screaming. But other kids might just take off running. And this is really hard for a parent to understand. Dr. Regina Crone is going to share what you can do to keep your child safe.
Okay, and we're going to jump into our third video out of our 5-video series, and we're going to be focusing on elopement that is for the function of escape, meaning trying to get away from a non-preferred activity. And remember, there's 4 different functions. There are sensory, escape, attention, and tangible, and so we're just going to be diving into escape with this plan. The first one is you want to have a replacement behavior, right? We're going to want to decrease that running. And so what do we want them to do instead? Well, there's a few things that can be replacement behaviors. Well, the easiest one is we want them to do exactly what they were supposed to be doing, engage in the activity appropriately, right? That maybe is the most obvious one. But then there could be another one. Maybe it's asking for a break in an appropriate way instead of just running. So assess your learner and what's going to be most effective. The second one is we want to think about the value of somebody deciding not to engage in that behavior. So we want to look at our reinforcement. To really teach that replacement behavior, what reinforcement can you add to the environment? That might be tokens, that might be an edible, that might be a special activity, but what can you add to the environment that makes it worth it to them and competes with the value of running away? Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is how do you practice? And because this practice makes permanence, right? This creates a new habit, and that's what we're trying to do. To make a new habit, just like us, we have to practice that over and over again. And so we want to practice engaging in the appropriate activity by adding reinforcement. We also want to maybe teach a break sign if it's appropriate for the activity, so they're not having to just run away. And then in addition to that, we might look at modifying also how we are doing the task. Maybe we're looking at breaking the task into smaller times. Instead of 45 minutes of homework, maybe it's do 3 problems, then engage in reinforcement, right? So really keeping the demand of the non-preferred activity lower so that we avoid the running, and then increasing that reinforcement, which makes the focus of staying on that task more valuable. And then the last one is, even despite all the planning and practicing appropriate behaviors and the reinforcement, you might still have the problem behavior occur. And so one of the most important things in this is that your reinforcement does not follow the problem behavior. So what I mean by that is when the child has eloped, when they have removed themselves from the environment and they're running to maybe what's dangerous, we do not want to necessarily reinforce them for doing that. Bring out all of these strategies and practice in that moment. Instead, we want to go back to the original setting. We want to redirect them to engage in maybe something neutral, and then set up our practice scenarios right again. And again, practicing this creates that habit, and you can do it over and over again, like 10 times in one day as you have the time, just to make sure that you are creating fluency with the skill set.
I think you're right. Practice makes perfect, because it really is. I mean, if you think about it, us as adults, we escape things all the time.
Yes.
And so we just keep practicing and practicing. You go back and do it over and over. This is great, great advice. We hope that you'll join us for the rest of the series. Keep shining bright.